Welcome back to Saturday Morning Coffee episode on Alcove. I'm your host, Michael. Thanks for joining me. I hope you've got a cup of nice hot coffee to start you off with your morning. And thanks for joining me. So normally, this is the first thing I do in the morning. I will get out of bed, hit start on the coffee machine, and I'll sit down and do this show. But today, little delayed, although this episode I think is still going to come out earlier than normal because I had to get up super early to start cooking a turkey today, which I have not done in a couple of years. I tend to just prefer ham, but we're cooking a turkey for a holiday party with a bunch of friends that we're inviting over today. And this holiday party, I have tried to make it an annual thing. But between like moving and living in different areas and having to like restart social circles and stuff, it's not been the easiest to make this an annual thing. But what I try to do is I try to make this as a food drive. So I try to get all my friends to come over, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before Christmas, and then we do like a food drive, and I'll take all the donations after the holiday party to one of the local food banks. But my organization has just been really off. I think between classes and like thinking about the wedding and then just trying to manage some work-life balance. Obviously I can't do everything when I'm actually doing work-life balance, which is a good and bad thing, right? In my opinion, it's a good thing that I'm taking more time for me, but it's a bad thing because it means that I'm getting less done. I guess that's an unhealthy mindset. God, I hate this. Anyways, work-life balance, Michael. You got to keep it. In the future, I really want to commit to this holiday party being an annual thing, especially with us moving soon. I think that will... Oh, I haven't announced it yet. We're going to be moving down to Boise here this summer. So that means it'll be a lot easier to have well-established social circles and do holiday parties like this and whatnot. But I want to commit to this every year because service is like a really important value in my life. And typically, 99.99% of my service is to my fraternity alumni association. But I want to shift that, community is very important to me, and I want to make sure that I am valuing that and appreciating it by participating and volunteering in it too. So I'm hoping that I can have this set in stone after I move. Anyway, as I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to cook this turkey, I've been looking at it all week, and there are just way too many different ways in general to cook a turkey. And I don't mean brine, not brine, or stuffing it and not stuffing it, or how often to baste it. No, even just as simple as how long and at what temperature. There are way too many goddamn ways to do this, and it's a lot to try and figure out what way to do it, because and I go about it. But in my research, I found a TikTok where somebody was saying, I've had a turkey in about every conceivable way possible, and every time it's still just all right. So it doesn't matter, just cook it however you want, call it good enough. And I was like, well, thank you. That's good to know, because I'm sitting here stressing about how long and at what temperature to cook this damn bird. And there's just too many different ways of doing it. So I was about to just go the quick and easy route, and then I decided, no, I'm gonna slow this guy. I'm gonna do it low and slow, and I'm gonna do it over like 6 or 7 hours, and I'm gonna baste it real good. I'm going to cover it in bacon too. So as that bacon is cooking on top of that turkey, it's releasing some juice too to keep it moist. And I'm hoping that between that and basting every hour, every 2 hours, I can really keep this thing actually tasting good. So I'll let you know next week how well this turkey turned out, because I've been stressing it and trying to figure it out all week, which has not been good because my head has been in a fog and I've been really tired because I've been sick. And so it's not, the planning process has not been going as well as I personally would like it to. Usually I would have a notebook and I'd be writing all sorts of different notes and then coming up with my own version of my own recipe and then going off of that. But I just couldn't pull that out of my ass this week. Anyway, so speaking of being sick, I've been pretty sick this week. I'm mostly over it now. I got a little bit of light congestion this morning. But like my throat has been hurting so much that I didn't want to talk all week. Just body aches and tired. And so I was laying around trying to figure out how I was going to spend the next few days because I knew I was going to be out for the count. And then I remembered the new Indiana Jones game released. And I've been really hesitant about trying this game out because I'm just like, I'm a completionist when it comes to a game. If I start it, I have to finish it no matter how bad it is or glitchy it is. I have to 100% it, both achievement and story-wise. And so I was like, if I jump into this game looks like it's going to be like a 60, 80 hour thing. Do I really want to commit that much time in my life to this? Even though winter break is here, and went back and forth. The trailers looked really good. I was getting really excited, but I was trying to quell it. And then because I got sick, I was like, screw it. I'll just play it. And I downloaded it and I played it, and damn it, I have been sucked into this story for the last 3 days. It's all I've wanted to do was just play this game and experience the story. And I just like the gameplay is so well done. There's super fun mechanics of like using the whip to swing across things, and like you're playing Indiana Jones, right? Like I feel like it would be so easy to just get it right. And I think the developers really did it. Like the game is just so much fun to play. And there's so much like detail that goes into it. Like these just like random things you can't even interact with that are just like laying around, like they could have had like, just your basic things to pick up, like, guns and bats and stuff to defend yourself. But instead you can pick up like a fly swatter or a guitar and use that to, like these improvised weapons to defend yourself. And so like the world is much more interactable than I would have thought. And the area design, like so far, I guess like if you're gonna play this, spoilers, but like I've went through the college he starts at, then I went to the Vatican, and that was just so deep and so much lore to go through and people to talk to and things to experience. And this is taking place in 1937, I want to say. The two numbers sticking out in my head is 1932 and 1937. So we're dealing with like pre-World War II tensions and like fascist Italy and Nazi Germany. And so we're in the Vatican at first, and then you move on, you go to the Himalayas, Egypt, somewhere in China. Anyways, so we're kind of just running through these different areas, trying to collect these pieces, real Indiana Jones like, and it's just like such a fun game. And I really wasn't expecting to enjoy this as much as I was. But the main thing that's come out of this is like, I'm like, damn, I really want to watch the movies now. And I don't know if I've ever actually seen the movies. I know I've seen the newest movie because I went and watched it in theaters and I really enjoyed it, but I know that most fans say that it doesn't even begin to compare to any of the original movies. I've seen tons of clips and parts of the movies, but I honestly probably have not seen any of the movies that I have any memory of. And I don't know why I've never sat down and watched the Indiana Jones movies. I feel like I would have loved them. I love Harrison Ford, and I love the genre, and I love archaeology. Always been very fascinated about it. Even when I was a kid, I remember like having like Egyptology books and other books like that kind of like are adjacent to archaeology. And for a whole, I think for a semester, I was an archaeology major in college. And seriously considering that line of work, and I thankfully switched out of that. Although I probably would have been better off with an archaeology degree than I would have been. I was philanthropology. I think that was the word. Yeah, but it was archaeology adjacent, and that was the intended goal. Was working in archaeology, but I would have been better off with that degree than I would have if I had switched into what I did, which was political science and philosophy. That degree has been absolutely useless. So at least with archaeology, I would have had like a career field that I could work in. There's not much demand for philosophers these days. So, anyways, this game has me wanting to watch the movies really bad. And I know other people out there are saying the same thing, that they want to watch the movies now too. And so I'm definitely gonna have to plan like a movie marathon after I finish. I think after I finish this game, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do a marathon of the first 3 Indiana Jones movies. And I'm gonna absolutely love them. I know it. And we're gonna make a hard switch now. So we're coming up on 365 days of content in the 2025 goal of mine that I if you've been listening, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not listening, my goal for 2025 is to release a piece of content on one of my accounts every single day for the year 2025. That includes this podcast stream and then one of the 2 YouTube channels I have, Purple Elephant Productions and Tabletop Oasis. And so I wanted to start putting it out there that about my day 1 stream. So on New Year's Day, I am going to be streaming on Twitch. The first part of it, maybe like the third or quarter, is going to be talking about the year and what I'm excited about, what I'm worried about, concerns. It's going to be just kind of a general like layout of the year and just kind of breaking the year down. I think that's the best way of describing it, is breaking the year down and talking about my early perceptions of it. And then the second half of the stream will be playing some video games, and all of that is going to be on Twitch at Purple Elephant Prod on Twitch. And I wonder if I might be changing that. I'm going to see if I can shorten it. Anyways, catch me there on day 1. I think that we're going to start streaming at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I believe that's the aim right there. It might be 11. I need to finalize the time. But we're gonna be streaming, and the second half is gonna be video games. We're gonna do maybe like an achievement hunting stream or something like that, going after a really fun achievement, or maybe just trucking, starting the year off easy with a trucking game. But I'm gonna start advertising that now. So join me for the day 1 stream. Kick off the new year with me, and then I highly suggest going to the Patreon for the show, because I'm going to be posting the weekly schedule on Patreon. So every Sunday for 2025, I'll post the schedule for that week's worth of content and exactly where you can find it. And so you'll know exactly what's releasing, and you can find something, you can check to see if something of your interest will be getting posted, because there's going to be so much content that I want to make sure to try and leave an easier way for people to find the content that they are interested in, because not everything is for everyone, right? So looking at next year, realistically, is 365 days of content possible? For me, no, it is not. I just want to get that out there right now, that I realize that it is realistically not possible, and the likelihood of failure is incredibly high, because it is literally just me doing the research, recording, editing, publishing, promoting. Every step of the journey is entirely on me, and that is definitely setting me up for failure, but I don't care. I am looking forward to the challenge. I am really excited about how hard this is going to be, and I can't wait to see how long I can go. And if I can make it all year, well, holy shit, I don't even know what to say. Like that, it's so inconceivable that I can make it to a year that I don't even know how I would possibly feel at that point. So stick with it. Let's see how long I can actually do this. But I am going to give it my all. And speaking of giving it my all, today's episode is actually the 53rd episode of Alcove. So the next episode actually will be officially or exactly 3 times the length of any other podcast I've ever produced. And in fact, I don't even think that's accurate, because one of those episodes, the first podcast I did called 5 Questions, I produced 18 episodes. I think that is counting a trailer, so I might be wrong. But even counting a trailer, that will make this show 3 times longer than any other solo podcast I have ever done. And I think that alone is something to be incredibly proud of. I'm very excited about that. I realized it this morning when I sat down that we had passed the 50th episode, and we had in fact made it so much further than any other solo podcast I had done. And we're going to quickly pass my podcast with Faith. That one is sitting at 58 episodes, and that one at most produces an episode once a week. This tries to do like 1.5 a week, so like 2 every other week and 1 on the off week. Obviously, with school and everything, the last couple of weeks have been struggling. I should address that. I'm going to be taking a lighter credit load next semester for a lot of different reasons. But it does mean that it's going to be easier to get that content out during the semester. So I won't be running into the same kinds of issues I've been running into this semester. Anyway, did you know only just a hair over 10% of all podcasts actually make it over 50 episodes? And I think there's something like 60-some podcasters or 60-some podcasts that quit every single day. They're just, a lot of people get excited. They start something, they realize, oh, this is not quick money, or they realize, oh shit, this is a lot of work. I don't want to do this, or life just takes too much time. And so they back out. And so there's a lot of podcasts and a lot of podcasters that quit every single day. And I'm really, really proud of myself for continuing this show as long as I have and getting to this point. The next goal is 100. We are going to hit that, I think, pretty quickly in 2025. And at that point, I just looked it up. Only 6.52% of podcasts make it to the 100th episode. That is incredible. To go through these actually real quick. Only 45% of podcasts make it to episode 8. 10.23 make it to 50, 6.52% make it to 100. And then the drop off is not as steep. Yeah, you're at 2.9% for 200 and 3.06% of podcasts make it to episode 300. So clearly, if you make it past 50th episode, or really make it past the 100th episode, you're a pretty solid podcast and you're committed and you're not really going to quit. There's not really a chance. The chance of you quitting or the likelihood of you quitting is vastly diminished. I think which is really awesome. I mean, that's the group of people who are heartily committed to producing this kind of content. So anyways, I just wanted to share that because I realized it and I'm really excited about it and I'm really proud about it. But I cannot leave you off without a recommendation. And today we are recommending the podcast Big Feats. It mostly follows a show called Mountain Monsters, but you don't have to watch the show to listen to the podcast because I like some their episode recaps give you enough details that you don't need to actually watch the show. And then they also do other episodes that are not based on the show, and they focus entirely on the American mythological creature Bigfoot. And it is just a really enjoyable show, especially if you have any interest whatsoever in cryptids. They will talk about and analyze the show Mountain Monsters and other shows and movies about Bigfoot and talk about their representation of Bigfoot and what they liked and what they didn't like. And it's just a really fun show to just kind of like throw on while you're doing dishes. Cryptids are fun, right? And so what's not to enjoy about it? And they're pretty funny guys. So they're definitely good for some laughs. I think they only have something like, I want to say like 34 or 35 episodes out so far. So also a newer podcast, but definitely worth a listen. These guys know what they're talking about when it comes to Bigfoot. And so that's my recommendation for the week. As always, it'll be in the comments of this episode. And let me know what you think of the show if you check it out.